Hey, Matt.
Hey, Judd. Welcome, everybody. We'll give it a few minutes for people to join in. And
Okay, YouTube stuff is working. I don't know about the Facebook. I tried to connect that earlier and it was like one of my personal account. I don't know that that's, I got to figure that out. I didn't get a chance to test it. The new dashboard. Exciting. We got some chats. Hey, thanks, Mike.
DJ Squish.
Pop out there. Well, Matt, it's 6 o'clock.
Ready?
I think let's see what's up. So, hey, everyone. First off, thanks for joining us. This is the next webinar, a sneak peek into CheckCherry's new dashboard. And so we get lots of requests on the dashboard, and it's finally our time to share our next iteration of the CheckCherry dashboard. And so Matt is going to be demoing it and showing it around. We're excited to share what we've been built and looking also forward to your feedback. So feel free to chat. And if you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to chat as well. And we'll get to questions and all that stuff. But yeah, Matt, take it away.
Awesome. Yeah. Share my screen. So here's the new dashboard, exactly the
Hey, that's
same
the same
one. Yeah.
dashboard. Wait a minute.
So, it's worth considering. So how did we kind of get with the dashboard we have? And frankly, I think it's looked pretty much like this from day one. Real
Long
early with
time.
Check Cherry, we had a lot of the features in place and we're like, okay, well, what do we show when somebody logs in? And so we just kind of, threw some things up that it seemed like people would want to know. And surprisingly, that's gotten us pretty far. We've certainly made a few tweaks, but obviously, we do get a lot of requests for changes for different ideas that people have. And so I don't know when we sent out that survey. Do you remember, Judd? It was a while ago, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, we sent out kind of a survey to our
Right.
customers, just kind of asking. Yeah.
Each year we do a customer survey, and the first question is like, what's the one way we can, change or help do something with Check Cherry to make your life better? And we like that question because it helps really boil down top priorities, I guess, for our customers. Because we get a lot of feedback on like, smaller parts of the app or like in kind of when you're in the weeds and stuff like that, but the kind of big level thing. And we
Mhm.
didn't get a lot of consistent. It wasn't like people said, I want a new dashboard.
Well, and even but remember we did a dashboard specifically survey too, and
Oh
that one
yeah.
was,
Yep.
yeah. And
That's
so
right.
so we went through that, and it's like, okay, cool. We'll see a few things that people want, and maybe make some tweaks. And kind of the feedback was all over the place. Everybody had different, and they were all good ideas. But it was kind of like, well, the dashboard would be, gigantic if we did that, and it wouldn't really work. So it was pretty obvious we needed to have a way to to kind of allow you to build your own dashboard. I think longer term we'll have some templates you can use and things like that. But it was obvious we needed a way to just kind of give people more control over exactly what they see. And we kind of found a few patterns. Some people, I think, people run their businesses very differently. We have some businesses that are very sales focused and others that are more like based around operations. And some people are like, all I want to see is the calendar when I log in. Let me see the calendar and nothing else. So hopefully, we've got kind of a more flexible system now, where you'll be able to just kind of build it however you want. So what that will look like, and this is not live yet, we'll probably go live later this week, and we'll send out an email and a link to this webinar when we do. But once it goes live, right now we've got at the very bottom of the page, we've got a little customized dashboard link. And again, this may change a little bit, but kind of the idea is once you get to the dashboard, once you click that, you'll be able to see all of the dashboards for your business. And so it's probably worth mentioning, this version is aimed at admins. I think in the future we'll have some staff versions, figure out what exactly that means. But right now, this is kind of intended as an admin dashboard, not a staff or not a customer one. And so any of your admins are going to be able to see these and kind of come in and they'll be able to see what their current dashboard is. If you've got two admins, they'll see all of the same dashboards. Everybody doesn't need to build the same thing from scratch, but everybody could if you wanted to have a different dashboard. So if you've got a salesperson or somebody that really focuses on the sales, maybe they need to see something different than somebody that's just working on scheduling. But once you come in here, you'll see what we're calling the classic dashboard, which is pretty much just what you're used to. So if everything is great, you like how it was, you can use that and leave that. But you can come in and view it, or you can edit it and make changes to it. And maybe what I'll do is I'll start with a new dashboard. So in addition to kind of editing one of those existing ones, you can also create one from scratch. And so when I create a new dashboard, I've got to give it some kind of name, call it webinar demo. And that's going to take me to kind of a blank slate where I can start laying stuff out. So in this case, one of the things our dashboard does is it does have, some people want a bunch of smaller widgets and some people want, again, a giant widget that takes up the whole screen. So you can kind of set it up how you want. Do you want one column? Do you want some smaller columns? Why don't we start with kind of a 2-column layout? And once you do that, you'll be able to start adding widgets or little dashboard components to it. And so if we add maybe our new revenue growth chart widget to it, sometimes there will be some settings you can customize. This one doesn't. And once you add that, then you'll be able to
Fancy.
like preview of that. You can also drag and drop and move stuff around. If you decide, now that I see it, I want to go a little bit bigger, you can always change your widget size or change the block size. So now I can go full width. I can say, no, you know what, I want to try to cram a bunch of stuff in here and make it a lot smaller. So easy to kind of adjust and you're not stuck with anything. As time goes on, you can come back to it and make changes. And as we add new widgets, maybe you want to put something else in there. But basically, you can have any number of blocks. So if you want to go kind of further down and have another two-column layout, maybe you kind of want to recreate what our classic dashboard looks like. You can do things like add some upcoming bookings, and then now it starts to look a little bit more like the dashboard we already have. Some of the widgets will also, like, depending on, something like the upcoming bookings, we're not able to show all of this data in a small space, but we'll try to make it so that, you can have a smaller version of it as you drag and drop and move stuff around as well. So if you decide you want these upcoming bookings up here and just kind of see at a glance, like, let me see the name and the email, the date, you can do that. Or if you want a more full featured one, drag it around and you can kind of play and see it live. And as you make those changes, those will save immediately. But once you're done, you can just hit finish. That'll take you back to the preview. And if you want to make that your current dashboard, you would just set it as current dashboard. And from now on, whenever you go to the dashboard, that's what your dashboard is going to look like. So hopefully, fairly intuitive to kind of customize and to move around and edit as you want to. So hopefully something that you can kind of share with other members on your team, or at least other admins this time. So
Will they always have to build from scratch, or will those templates, if you will, be available to them when they first build?
yeah, so I think so one of the things we haven't come up with any template ideas yet, but I do think that it's inevitable that we'll have a few examples that you'll be able to use. So you don't need to necessarily create those from scratch. Right now, we've just got kind of this classic dashboard preloaded for everybody. But I think we'll come up with a few examples, maybe a calendar, kind of from somebody that does a lot of scheduling, maybe a version for that and things like that. Kind of what that'll look like is you'll come to the same place. You'll see, you'll come to this dashboard, and at the top you'll be able to see, your dashboards and then kind of some templates to choose from. Very long term, we'll probably also make it so you can share it with other businesses that either
That
you
would be
have a
cool.
relationship with or things like that. So. So I think the layout itself, I think is pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if you have any other immediate questions, Judd, or if anything came in.
Does anybody have questions so far? Because I think what's next? You'll show us some of the blocks, so the individual blocks that come up
Yeah.
with the individual components. Here's Mike says, are custom colors available to program for the data charts, graphs, and the new reports that able to be downloaded, such as the lead generation comparison?
No, not custom colors currently. I could see, potentially, one of the things that we kind of did, and we'll see, based on what kind of feedback we get on things, but as you come in and add a widget or if I come into something like this, upcoming bookings, we do have a kind of a place that we can put settings now. So if I want to see, instead of the default 3 settings, we've got a setting now where you can come in and see 10 upcoming bookings or things like that. So potentially I could see, maybe some color scheme ideas or color, things like that. The other
Mike,
is, yeah.
Mike, when you say, oh, you want to download such as a lead generation comparison, so I'm assuming as I would understand that would be, how many leads we generated this month versus last month, how many leads we generated last year at this time, like year to date, month to date, quarter to date, like all that stuff do I understand correctly? And then why would you want to download that? Like if you downloaded, like don't we just already offer the leads where you can download it? What would be different? Or what would you do with the data? Or what does download mean, I guess? In any case, if anybody else has questions, feel free to ask. Lauren Ray says, this is awesome. CheckCherry is already user-friendly, but customization like this just makes the workflow even easier. Great work. Thanks, Lauren Ray. Yeah, no, I think this is going to be, the dashboard really touches everybody, right? All the admins. And so you guys see it all the time. And we've just been busy doing other stuff. And it's a big project, frankly. And it's important to get right and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I'll kind of dig into some of the widgets that are there, and if people have ideas, things they want to see instead, feel free to chime up. Like I say, we haven't launched it yet, so
And we're expecting a lot of feedback on these
yeah.
widgets, frankly.
Yeah, one of the things that we're most, excited, it makes it much easier now to just make a little graph for something that people want to see, rather than, something that impacts everybody, now it's just a little it's kind of more self-contained. So
Lauren Ray says, so you can customize the dashboard for staff members too.
So at this time, it's for admins. Any of your admins can have their own dashboard. It can be, it's not business wide. It is per person. It's not aimed at individual staff members yet. Partly because of just some of the permission stuff. It's not clear to me you know, if somebody puts a revenue snapshot graph on their staff, but then they're not supposed to see it, like,
How does
what
that
do
work?
we do, or things like that. But or we don't want to accidentally kind of leak information they're not supposed to see if they don't have
It requires
access.
more thought and work, but
Yeah,
I think long term,
long
absolutely,
term certainly.
developers will
Yeah.
have the option to do, different dashboards.
And so kind of the main ones that we're launching with at this time, we kind of tried to group stuff a little bit so it's hopefully not too hard to find. But we've got our charts and graphs section, scheduling, leads, proposals, and bookings, and organization, and then a few other categories: payments, messaging, tools, and resources. So I think kind of the prettiest or whatever is of course going to be the graphs and the charts and things like that. And the revenue snapshot graph, that's basically the graph you've already had forever. One change we did make though, that we did add, that over the last, I don't know, 6 months or a year, we've added a few more things like brands and some different options in here. But we did just add a new booked tab here. And so kind of the way the revenue snapshot works is, that by schedule, it's going to show you like what your revenue is by, when the event is held. Payment is going to show, based on when your payment date was. And then we added a new section that apparently is going to load, so I'll have to look at that. That'll show based on the booked date. And so one request that we'll get sometimes is that people want to see that revenue basically as how much money did I book this month, even if I didn't get paid on it yet. So that'll start to show you that.
I have a question. Is there a
Yeah,
limit to how many widgets I can put on the
not at
dashboard?
this time. There may be in the future, but
We run into problems,
as
but
of
yeah.
today, yeah. If we run into problems, we'll evaluate at that point. Right now, there's not a limit. So,
Hey, there's
so
a lead comparison chart.
the lead comparison chart, yeah, let's add that one. I think that'll be a popular one. If I don't know what our data looks like in this account, but what that'll do is basically show you again kind of your lead activity, but comparing it over time. So, over the last 12 months, how many leads were created. And so, I can see in May, May this year, I'm at 15. Last year in May, I got up to 19. And that'll be through, I believe that'll be through the end of the month.
And you can
Uh,
also do date scheduled, I see. That's awesome. So
And then, yeah, in April, we did 25 this year we're at 25, last year we were at 12. And you can kind of break that up if you want to see more of a quarter by quarter, a custom date range, things like that, you can. And then, like you say, yeah, by date scheduled as well. So if you want to see kind of, okay, I've got 80 leads, scheduled for January to March, makes it quick to see that.
Philippa says date scheduled is cool! Exclamation point.
Another one, so the revenue growth chart, that's real similar to the revenue snapshot chart. Can't say that word. It's basically the same data, except it's going to be a comparison over time. So if you want to see, okay, how much money am I making this year, or how much, what was my payment revenue this year? Apparently in our test account, we're doing way better than we were last year. 10,000% up. So yeah, so that can be helpful. Thanks, James. And then proposal comparison chart, basically same as the leads, but for proposals. So how many proposals did I generate, and based on the proposal date as well. So so again, you can kind of, load it up and play with it and see, see what seems right and what's useful for you. If we get out of the charts and graphs, the kind of the next one is the scheduling that I think are useful. The calendar, that's just our
Large calendar.
yep.
Totally.
And proposal activity, it would actually be based on when the proposal was created by default, not necessarily when it was sent. Felipe asked, but when it was created. So
Alan
if you
Mark says,
yeah.
"Yay!" Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That was a common one. Is people are like, I just want to see the calendar when I log in.
Mhm.
You
So,
know. So there it
yep,
is.
you can do it now. But a couple new ones in the scheduling area. Let's see here. And so the we've also got kind of more of a at a glance, and I don't know if I have great data in this test account, but what this will do is just it's kind of a quick way to see what leads, bookings, and proposals you have on a given day. So if I want to see, just jump real quick, somebody's on the phone, I want to see what I have on July 1st, that'll show that. Kind of the impetus for that came from our leads page. Somebody asked if we have a way to show this, but for kind of what we show on the lead overview page. And it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Hey,
So
I
that
have questions. Hold on.
yep.
So back to Felipe has proposal activity is when I sent it out, correct?
Right. So that's it would be based on when the proposal was
We
created.
actually don't track when it was sent. I don't think actually. You know that? It's like we
Yeah,
say send like
we kind of
email.
know when the first message was, but if you sent yourself a text message or something, it gets kind of
Right.
ambiguous. So yeah.
Uh, so it's when it's create a date is specifically. Mike says, can we customize the default calendar view to include blackout dates without having to manually
So it
select it?
should how it should work for things like the calendar or pretty much any of the widgets that have settings. If you customize it and then come back to it, it should save that. So you can kind of like click around, show if you just wanted a
Yeah.
blackout date calendar, you could do that. And then when you come back to it, or refresh your page, that's all it'll show. So it'll be kind of a sticky type of thing. And you can have as many calendars as you want, and they'll all be kind of individually.
Oh, so you could have multiple, yeah.
Yeah.
Alan says, when you release your new version, will this change any of the website links, i.e. calendar on
No,
website, etc.?
no. So yeah, it shouldn't have any
Okay.
impact to any saved links or anything like that. So
Great questions.
mhm. And so kind of in the scheduling, we have our new activity for date, and then we've also got what we call staff for date. And that's another one, just kind of a quick at a glance of who's available on a date. For people that deal with a lot of staff, sometimes it's just it's a little bit annoying trying to figure out who's free, who's booked, things like that. So I can, hop days around, I can jump to a day later in the year, things like that.
Felipe says, well, we have the option to switch it back. So I don't know when you say back, like back to the default. Um, is that what you mean? Like if you change it and mess it up, or Mike says, love the staff ability. Back to the older version. So
Yeah, so you'll have within, when you go to your customized dashboard, we'll have what we're calling kind of the classic dashboard. That'll be the old one. So if you like the old one as is, you don't need to do anything at all. It should pretty much just
and you
look like
can view it without actually saving it or using it, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So you can
correct.
modify and have multiples, and then you say, I want.
Yeah.
You see where it says current dashboard underneath webinar demo, Felipa? That means that that's the dashboard that's currently being applied to the count, basically. Right under webinar demo, there's
And if
this
you want to
dashboard.
make a copy, like you're like, hey, I like the classic, but I want to like have one I can kind of play with. You can also duplicate it that way. So
So yeah, we've
yep.
got a solution.
And potentially, I mean, since we have multiple dashboards, we don't have a way to like, from your dashboard, like flip between dashboards, I mean, it's a few clicks. Maybe there's I don't know, maybe there's more opportunity there for
See what the feedback is.
saved reports or who knows. I think we have a lot of options in the future for sure. So, um, and so, yeah, so that was kind of our staff for day. And then leads, proposals, and bookings. These are real boring, just kind of informational, like, hey, I want to see my upcoming bookings, my recently booked. These are all kind of things, for the most part, these are already on the existing dashboard. We did add a few new ones, recently expired proposals and proposals expiring soon. I think those are both useful. Open proposals, I think, is new. And then recently completed bookings. Sometimes people need just kind of a quick at a glance of, what have I finished recently so that I can,
So Alan Mark says, is it possible to remind staff of upcoming events via email? The short answer is yes, and chat with us and we can help you with that. Alan, chat anytime. We'll help you get that set up. But yeah, you can send emails or text messages to staff to remind them. Mike says the dashboard upgrade is fantastic. I was hoping to see customization options available from the client. Available for the client invoices. Okay, so Mike's saying basically he wants to be able to customize the client invoices. Am I understanding that?
I believe it looks like it, yeah.
Yes, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, I think people like customization. I don't, where that's out on the priority. It doesn't come up much, I will say that. And I
I
think
would
we
say
have,
proposals are probably higher, maybe
yeah,
more of that. Yeah. This does not impact proposals or invoices at this time.
here's Felipe. I
Um,
might be jumping ahead. Any changes to proposals? So there's no changes, but proposals are high in the list. We understand they're important. We've got some ideas there, and yeah, so
yeah.
uh,
So yeah, so you can kind of see, basic data. One thing that you can do with a lot of them too is, you can, if I add this recently expired proposals, a lot of them will have this setting that says hide this widget if no results. And that can be helpful if you just kind of want to only see, I don't want to see this all the time, but maybe only if I have some proposals that recently expired, just show it. Don't show kind of a filler, you don't have any expired proposal type thing.
right.
So that can be helpful as well. If we go a little further down, we get into more of the organization one. So this one I think will be a kind of a popular one. In order to see your checklist or to-do list, we've always had that buried under the sales tab. You go to sales and to-do list. Now we finally got a widget for that. So you can say how many you want to see, and that'll show all of your checklist items there. And again, you can make that more of a kind of a small widget, or if you want more room, you can certainly make that bigger and easier to see.
Here's another
And so
question.
things like checking off, your to-dos, assigning things to people, that can be helpful.
Will
for
the
that.
last email sent be an option to add to the dashboard? So that's our reason.
Think we may already have that one. Let me see here.
And I would say the intent is that everything you can do on the existing dashboard is probably going to
Mhm.
be an option within
Yeah,
this. So
yeah. We've got
messaging,
recent
there you go. There you
messages.
go. Okay.
That's exactly the same as what we're showing now. I don't recall if that's just incoming or
I
incoming
don't.
now. And then we also have messages awaiting review now too. So that's another popular one where, if you've got any of these messages here where, you're waiting, where you need to review them, you'll be able to send that out as well. So that can be helpful.
Alan wants to know if you can sort checklist items by brand.
I don't know. Let's see.
I like how we don't know the answer to stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Not yet. So
Short
good
answer is
idea.
no.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, like I say, I might forget on the call. So, but yeah, definitely chat
Yeah.
with us time and remind us, and we'll add that to the wish list as well. So, um, so let's see here. So checklist, we looked at that. This one I think is this one's kind of an interesting one. So uh, one request we get sometimes, particularly people coming from other CRMs, competitors, is for what they call like a pipeline or something like that. And CheckJerry doesn't really, we're not real prescriptive about how you do business, that you always need to do this, then this, then this. So we don't really have doing a pipeline in CheckJerry is a little bit unclear what that would look like. But we do have a number of kind of widgets that are in that direction. So as an example, I like this bookings awaiting action. If we add that, what that'll do is show all of your bookings that have a certain status. So that'll show any bookings with no staff assigned, awaiting questionnaires, awaiting backdrop, and things like that. And then you can click it just to see those specific bookings if you need
There's
to do
another question. If there's a bogus lead that comes in, would it need to be completely deleted out of CheckCherry in order for it to have, or for it to have it not counted in the lead generation chart? And so I
Um,
think bogus means spam, I suppose. I don't know.
mhm.
Like
I
how
think,
what does bogus mean? And how do you mark it currently, I guess,
mhm.
you
So
know.
the way it currently works, and like I say, we're open to feedback on this stuff. But the way it currently would work is if it's deleted or marked as spam, it would not show either in this year or last year.
Yeah. So you need to delete it, basically.
If it's archived, I believe we would count that, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
And there is a mark as spam option in the lead as well.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And so we think some of these things like the bookings waiting action kind of gives you a booking pipeline that you can, just see bookings that need action. Similarly, we've got some lead pipeline type features. You can see your leads grouped by, lead source, lead type, origin, things like that. And you can also control how far back you want to see. So if you want to see all of it's not a great example, just go back all the way. All of your leads, you can see the status. I've got 2 in the hot status and 1 in the warm status. So if if you mark your leads by type, or if you want to track where your leads are coming from, event booking form, leads, online booking, things like that, you can do that as well. So, whoops. And then similarly, proposal counts. So a popular one that people want to see is their proposals, and particularly, how many proposals have been viewed, have expired, have been accepted, things like that. So if I want to see in the last like 30 days, how many proposals I've created, I've got 4 that haven't been viewed by the customer yet. Maybe I need to follow up with them. 2 that have been viewed, but they haven't acted, that's worth following up on. 19 that expired, if you have a process for that, maybe you want to do something there. And then 2 that were accepted. So, so
I
that can
like
kind
that
of
one.
help you,
That's
yeah,
great.
kind of, yeah, push them through that little pipeline there. And that can also be used just as a informational, if you've got sales staff or other people working those leads, you can kind of keep an eye on what's happening there.
Can you
Yeah,
click through the proposal?
yeah. So there's a question. Can you click on the proposals by status? And yeah, if you click that, that'll take you just to the expired ones. So you can see the details on that. What else?
So
And then a few others. For people that are more interested in the payments and payouts, we've got a few. This is already on your dashboard, but the recent payments will just show kind of, any payments you've gotten in the last, however far back you want to go. Recent payouts, this will only apply to customers using CheckCherry payments, because that's the only way we're able to get this kind of data. But what we can do with that is show any payouts that are on the that are recent or upcoming, and you can kind of see where that money is, how far along it is, whether it's been sent to your bank, whether it's a day or two out still. And then this one I think is, probably one people should have on their dashboard. It's past due payments. And what that'll do is show any payments where you're awaiting the initial deposit. So maybe you sent somebody, maybe you have kind of a pay later option on your checkout process, or maybe you overrode something and let them through without paying that deposit. It will show those, and then it'll show any that are past the due date. So that's a good one to kind of make only show, hide it if there are no results, but it's a useful way to kind of keep on top of your past due payments, I think.
Love it.
See what else we got here. It was 6:33.
Yeah, if we end early, when we
Yeah.
go questions, if we enter, it doesn't, we're
Yeah.
fine.
And then messaging, couple of this one again is already on your dashboard or on the classic one, just kind of your recent messages, and then your messages awaiting review. That'll show any that are in the queue waiting for your review before they go out. And then just kind of a few miscellaneous. We've got our getting started checklist, that new customers have when they first sign up. That's still available as an option. And then we've got our little quick actions. It just kind of has the create new, the tools, the switch brands, some things like that. So again, kind of the default is going to be to leave the classic dashboard on accounts for now, so it's not overly disruptive. But if you want to go in and remove any of those or add some new ones, you'll be able to, or just build something from scratch. So I think that's kind of where we're at in terms of widgets. Definitely let us know as you play around with it, if, ideas, things that we don't have that you want to see, all that type of stuff. The only other thing I want to mention is that when you do go in and create a new admin account, by default, they'll just get the same dashboard that you're on. But there is a new setting down here that'll show all of those dashboards. So kind of buried on your admin, setting screen when you're creating an account for an admin. The default is going to be, just the classic, but you can come in and give them one of your other dashboards as well. So if you do have that, calendar, that scheduling person or something like that, you can specifically set that on your end as well to kind of control what they see when they log in next time. So
Cool. Nice, Matt. So does anybody have questions? Are we missing a widget? I'm sure we'll get feedback over time as people use it and get used to things in the new way of life. But what somebody says, Sleep says, what can we customize a staff's dash? I'm not following that 100%.
So on the staff accounts, right now the dashboards only show up for your admin staff,
Yep.
But in the future, I'm sure we'll have kind of more of a staff version, or we'll see what that looks like in the long term.
I like it. So any other questions out there? Feel free to raise your hand or chat, either which way. Matt, I'm excited. I think this is great. I mean, this is really, nice work.
I do have a question.
Yeah, sure. Who is this?
Hi, this is Felipa.
Hi, Felipa.
When will you be releasing it? Is it going to be beta? I missed the beginning. 11.
Oh yeah, so probably later this week is the plan. There are just a couple little minor things we want to do. I'm guessing most likely Thursday is my guess. And we'll send out an email on that when we do announce it. Right now it's just kind of, there'll be a little like customized dashboard link at the very bottom of your account. So it's not super obvious, but that's probably where it'll be, and then you'll be able to come in and start playing
Very,
around.
very soon. No beta.
Nope. Okay. And how does this engage with the online app or the mobile app?
It doesn't currently affect the mobile app either. So
Okay.
yeah. And I don't know on the mobile app. our dashboard is, on the mobile app is real basic. And I can see, we're probably not able to do all of this on the mobile app, but I'm sure we kind of wanted to launch this, see what happens, and then take a stab at the mobile app soon. There's still a few other things that are probably higher priority on the mobile app, such as, push notifications.
You don't have push notifications?
Yeah.
What?
Okay, no, that's good to know because my
Mhm.
team usually uses the mobile app and I
Mhm.
use the web,
Yeah,
like the browser. So
I think
it's
that's
good to
common.
know that it won't be any difference in that to tell them.
Mike
Yeah,
says,
nothing for as far as like communicating with staff, it won't impact them at all at this point. Only like the admins, and even those, it'll only just be if you want to opt into it. So
Mike says, any plans of integration with various review sites, the Google, the Not, to notate somewhere where the clients have or not left a review. So I suppose this is not dashboard specific, and I don't know if they have APIs or something like that. You're the first one to mention.
interesting. Yeah. I don't
Um,
know. I don't know if there's a way we would be able to know if somebody left a review. If so,
yeah, I could.
I'd be
Yeah,
open to it. But yeah,
I could see that would be helpful in hitting people up and that stuff. Yeah.
I suppose certainly we can make it a manual setting. Yes,
Yeah.
left or something. But yeah.
Try to stay away from like scraping
Mhm.
data and like being like that. I mean, it's just tends not to be you know, stable, I guess, to put it that way, and reliable. Any other comments or questions? So sometime later this week, and we'll send an email. We might put an announcement in the app or something so people see it. A link to the webinar, kind of show them around a little bit. And we're looking forward to feedback. I think as people use it, that's where it's going to be like, oh, what'd be really helpful is this, or hey, I'm looking for this. And I think Matt and I were talking, we both like that. Um, it's any of the widgets are relatively self-contained, right? And it doesn't impact everybody. And so that's nice from us on the product standpoint. Mike says, thank you for all the nuggets. We're excited to test them out. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for all the questions.
Yeah.
I
Thanks
do have
everybody
one
for
last question.
yeah.
For the on the dashboard, I saw that there's going to be the recent message piece. Will they also show how some are clicked, delivered, bounced?
Oh, interesting. Did we not show that on the
I didn't
Uh,
see it. I did have it a little small.
Yeah, that one is exactly the same as what we currently show.
Okay.
Yeah, and I honestly, I don't know. So we do send, I don't even know if these are only outgoing or if those are incoming and outgoing. I actually don't recall anymore.
Yeah,
So
both
yeah,
usually are on there. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I could see, certainly for the outgoing, I could see where that would be useful. So yeah, so we didn't make any changes to it, but yeah, I could see that being
Oh,
something.
okay. Yeah, I only asked because today I had a client who called me and said, "Hey, the message went to spam or
Mhm.
junk, but
Yeah.
it did show delivered and it showed open on my end
Mm-hmm.
or clicked. Yeah, they clicked it. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Curious.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, to show the status on there because we have it right there. So yeah, makes a lot of sense.
and Mari says, good job, guys. Thanks. Yep. Matt did most of the work. Congrats, Matt.
Well, thank you guys. We appreciate you spending your Tuesday night with us. And yeah, we'll have be launching this real soon. And yeah, definitely let us know as you kind of play around with it. So
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Thanks,
oh,
Matt.
our next webinar, Judd.
Oh,
What's
hey. Our next webinar is in 2 weeks, same time, same place, different Zoom link. It's going to be on the designs feature. And so we'll be walking through the designs feature and discussing it and kind of just how to get the most out of that designs feature. It's not just for photo booth overlays / templates. You can use it for other things. And it's also a great time to give us feedback on the feature, so we can kind of talk about it. And we're looking forward to that. It's heavily used by a lot of our customers, specifically photo boothers, but DJs also use it, right, for like monograms and other things. And I've seen some creative stuff. So join us. Yep. And we'll be sending an email and all that stuff. Usual communication channels. Matt, thanks for the reminder.
Awesome. Thank you guys
Nice
so
work.
much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey, no worry, Lanisha. Thanks so much. Yep.
Thank you.
Got your priorities straight with kids' graduation. So you're good. There's a recording. So, yep. Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks, Matt.